all these questions. Where will you kayak? How often will you go? How are you going to transport this kayak? Are there any physical limitations that you have? How long do you think that you're going to be able to fish? And then really your budget. These are all questions that should kind of go through your mind as you're thinking about the decision that you make. A lot of people kind of start out with the brand of kayak, the model of kayak. I saw this, my buddy has this. This is kind of where, you got to start with yourself and not the internet. Whenever we're, as ambassadors, have demo days and we're talking to prospective kayak buyers, the first question that we need to be asking them, or that we do ask them is, how do you fish? Is there someone that you're trying to mimic, even if you never fished before? Like, how do you perceive yourself doing these things? Or, do you have a truck? Do you have a car? Like all these different things, so we can kind of tailor the right kayak for you.
And one of the things you need to consider, one of the most important things, what we have on the very top is, where will you kayak? That is very important when you decide what kayak you want to buy. Because if you get, for example, Old Town PDL is a great kayak. It has a heavy drive. Do you want to be using this kayak in the Brazos River? Probably not. If you love fishing the Brazos River and you love this kayak, you're gonna be unhappy. You're either gonna stop using your kayak or you're gonna stop using the Brazos River. That's just an example. For those that have gone to Brazos River, can be very shallow, very rocky at times. Pedal drives don't really work there. So that's just an example. Be realistic. What type of fishing do you like to do? If you're experienced in fishing and you already have your niche where you like to do this, then think about, the body of water that you're fishing. What is it? Is it a big lake? Are you going to be fishing offshore points? Are you going to be fishing local ponds? Are you going to be fishing creeks around the DFW Metroplex? Are you going to be fishing bigger rivers? All those things play a part. It's like golf. When a golfer has, different, a wedge, a 9-iron, and all this for different situations. How to, make a long shot, how to get out of the sand trap, how to putt, and get into the hole. So there's different tools for different scenarios, and the kayak is no different. Buying the right kayak for what you're doing is very, very important.
Yep. And just to kind of reiterate some of the other pieces or points here is physical limitations. It might be a back, you might be disabled, but this kayak right here, this is a bona fide RVR. And let me see, I'm actually gonna get into it real quick. Physical limitations doesn't mean, again, like that you're disabled or anything like that, but it just could be like, are you able to stand up in this kayak? Now, this is a kayak that you can still stand up in. This is also a good kayak if you're in the creek, or in the river, like the Brazos that Armando was mentioning. But how do you actually get yourself up? Mariner has, equipment where you can actually grab a handle here and stand yourself up, or, can you physically stand up in the kayak as well too? And so if you want to stand up, how can you stand up? Are you comfortable in it too? And as you can see, I'm at the store doing this just so you can kind of get a good glance on, are you able to do that? And again, I don't have any physical ailments or limitations, but if you want to stand up, you might want to consider a kayak where you can stand up a little bit easier.
That's a good point. And also, like we mentioned, there's not one kayak that fits all. Yes, you can use this kayak in every fishing scenario. You can use the PDL in every fishing scenario. You can use the NuCanoe Unlimited in each scenario, but one is gonna outshine the other. So if you're gonna be fishing a specific scenario for most or all of the time, then you wanna get the kayak, not the one that looks nice and you like all the reels and video. You wanna get the kayak that's right for the tool or for the area that you're gonna fish in. In other words, the right tool for the right purpose. Hull design is very important. Why is it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Hull design is very important. Like when it comes to river fishing, I think this is the most overlooked part of kayak fishing as far as scenarios. You have your typical less rocker. You see it on the PDL and you see it in the on the Unlimited NuCanoe. It's all flat. You see the bottom, it's all flat out. because it's meant to track well. It's meant for bigger bodies of water. You can't hardly see it from here where you're standing, but if you look, and afterwards you can come and look, if you see the Bonafide RVR, I'm not promoting it, I'm just using it as an example of the difference. You're gonna see what they called, oops, let me move this a little bit, and I apologize. What we called a rocker, which is that design right there with the ends pointing a little bit more upward. What that does, it lets you navigate, make short and tight turns. So this would be for a river. If you're going on a big lake and there's a lot of wind, you're gonna be turned around a lot easier on this kayak than on a PDL or another type of kayak that has the whole design with less rock. In other words, more like a flat design on the bottom or a straight line on the bottom. So understand that aspect of it, because that is a huge difference that I think a lot of people don't take into consideration. There are kayaks that are meant to fish like oil rigs down in South Texas, and then there are kayaks meant to fish on rivers and creek. Bonafide even has a kayak, it's called the Skiff, that's meant to fish on the South Padre, grassy area where it's all flat for miles on and you're fishing for redfish. So every kayak is gonna have a design that's specifically tailored to the conditions that you're gonna be fishing.
Yep. And not only that too, like this is why we kind of put the slide here, is that it's these three things. A lot of people focus on stability, because when they see a kayak, they're like, they probably were at a kid's camp when they were a kid, and they're like, last time I was on the kayak, I probably fell in the water. Most of these kayaks nowadays, they have different types of stability. They have primary and secondary stability. That primary stability is what you guys are kind of talking about, which is, can I just like stand up, or can I sit down and I don't feel wobbly? But then there's that secondary stability where you are able to most likely maneuver a lot better because that has less primary stability. So where you initially feel if the kayak's stable or not, but if it can rock a little bit better, then you can be able to paddle or power your way around things.